Festival of the Arts is in full swing. We're going to review everything that we know about the thing. There's park hopping back all day long. We're going to talk about that, and the Bears date is finally on the calendar. All that tonight on ParksCenter. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ParksCenter for January 14th, 2024. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys, as always, for being with us. We appreciate you. If you have not already, please subscribe to WDWNT TV for more great content, and also give this video a thumbs up as it helps people to find us. If you haven't been to ParksCenter before, we give you the past week's news in 60 minutes or less, and this is the crack team, the crack squad that we've put together this week to talk to you about all things Disney, starting with Kamila. How are you?
Hi, Rob. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah, it's your first show of the year. Happy New Year to you. And also first show of the year. Shannon, how are you?
I am great, Rob. How are you?
I'm great. I threw you off by going around the other way, didn't I? Yep.
You did.
Cool.
You did.
All good. And new to the show and very happy to have her here with us is Michelle. How are you, Michelle?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Keep that level of enthusiasm, maybe just a little more. Thank you guys for being with us. We appreciate it as always, and we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. The first thing we want to talk about is the Festival of the Arts. I always kid that it's the best fest. I am not there right now. I wish I was. I want to spend all of my time at the Festival of the Arts. I love all of the things they have to offer. But, Michelle, you were there boots on the ground for Festival of the Arts on day one, and I know I talked to you about it a little bit, and you were like, it was kind of crazy. It was kind of a who's who of everyone in the vlogging community, and tell us a little bit about the vibe of Festival this year.
I would say for any opening day Epcot event, especially Festival of the Arts, it's like the Met Gala. Like, anyone and everyone is there. Everybody's dressed up to the Figment theme, the art theme. It's very crowded. I went opening day, and then I went the next day to look at the art closer, and a lot of art already sold out, apparently. So I think it's the hottest commodity. I think it's also the shortest festival, I believe. But yeah, the vibes were busy, but it was good energy. Lots of good people there.
I love that. It's the Met Gala. That's it. Those are the exact words that you kind of gave me before. And it was like everybody's there first day to make sure to taste all the food and see all the things. One of the hot commodities this year for the Festival of the Arts was this popcorn bucket, which is the Journey into Imagination Pavilion popcorn bucket. And I am in love with this one, as is someone else who actually is there from ParksCenter. Mr. Patrick Hackett had to send me a picture of himself flexing his popcorn bucket that he had gotten. So we appreciate you, Patrick.
How long
we miss
did
you.
he
Have
wait?
a great
Did
time.
he say?
He didn't. I said, was it tough to get? And he said, not really. So the mobile order system seems to be working pretty well. Michelle, did you hear any issues going on with that?
I didn't get one for myself. I know a few people woke up at like 4 a.m. because apparently that's when the mobile ordering system starts. But I don't think it was up then, so I didn't hear any like hiccups of waiting in a line for 30 minutes to pick up. I think it was smoother than the Figment bucket initially.
Yeah, that it seems like if it's something that you have to get up at 4 a.m. for, it seems like, what are we even doing? Also, here's a picture of our own Jason Diffendahl walking out with a couple. He looks like an eBay reseller hiking out with those things. I think they learned their lesson from the one a couple years back when they did the Figment popcorn bucket and they had 7-hour lines, because I would rather get up at 4, get on my mobile app, order one and know that it was going to be waiting for me than stand in a line for 7 hours and then find out I wasn't going to get one, which kind of sounds like magic keys, but we'll talk about those in a little while as well. So they have a lot of cool things at Flower and Garden Food Festival of the Arts. There are too many. Everybody started to call it FODA. I don't know. Is that a thing, Shannon? No, Shannon. No, Michelle, stop. Shannon, talk to me a little bit about Festival of the Arts.
Oh, well, it is the best festival for sure. I do think it lacks in the food department, which is a disappointment. And I haven't been there yet this year. I'll be there soon, and it does feel like there was a little less, a little scaled down this year. They didn't bring back those pin tables in the Imagination Station. That's what they're calling it in the Odyssey Pavilion, um, and I don't know. I mean, aside from the artist booths, which are always amazing, a little disappointing to hear that they've sold out of some of the art. But I think it'll still top the rest of the festivals, despite some of that negativity.
Yeah. Some of the stuff though, like I love the pictures, the step in, walk in picture photo opportunities they have. Here, a couple new ones. There's one here for Wish, and there's one for Sleeping Beauty, and then one for Mary Poppins. So that's a cool thing. There's a new Munchling, Figment Munchling.
Oh, I don't like this. I have an opinion about this.
Okay, all right, hold that opinion. No, hold it, hold. All right, and then the popcorn bucket we talked about. The merch, I definitely want to talk about the merch here. And then I love this feature, the paint by numbers, where they give you the little copy of the mural and everything. But talk to me, Shannon, about that Figment and what your problems are with that.
Yeah, so last year they did Figment Munchling, and it was like a fig bar. And it made sense. And I'm like, this is brilliant. They completely nailed it. And I think you need to let go of a good thing. Like a fig eclair doesn't make any sense to me. That's all I have to say about it.
Okay, well, I will say though that the one you're talking about is this one. There's the fig bar from last year. I honestly did not want this. I bought it for my son, who then bought it for himself. So I have an extra one here. I'm going to hold on to it because I have that kind of a problem. Kamila, talk to me about Festival of the Arts. Are you going this year? Have you been in the past? And did you see anything on here, food-wise, anywhere else that makes you go, oh my gosh, I wish I was there right now?
I will say, so I was supposed to be there early February, and then at the last minute, I switched and decided I wanted to go to Disneyland instead. And I am a little sad that I'll be missing it again this year. I think the merch looks really fun. It's so interesting to see how they're leaning into a lot of the Figment merch consistently for this festival, and yet we're not getting some of the updates to the actual ride. But the mugs in particular I thought were really cute. I think there's 2 of them this year, and both of them I was kind of like, ooh, I might have to see if I can find a way to get those. Yeah, like I just think those are really cute. I love the colors of this festival, even the passport. Like I love the neon colorway for that. And so I am sad. I will say I agree with Shannon, though, that something about the food for this one just it never looks that appealing. But I will say it is my life's mission to get that finisher cookie, the like artist palette one. It's so cute, and I think you can actually just buy it. I don't even think you have to actually do the complete get all the stamps, but I want that.
You're going to cheat the system? How dare you? That's not cool.
Yeah, and not feel bad about it.
I mean, it was my understanding all along with Festival of the Arts that the food is just supposed to be very pretty. And they definitely have a lot of interesting looking foods. So we have a full guide on our website, WDWNT-TV, and we've got a lot of reviews of things. This was a classic from the food from the Festival of the Arts, is this little like grilled cheese and soup thing with the little can. But of course, I also have a problem that if there's a container that is themed, I want to keep it. So then, that's definitely a problem. So let's continue to talk about Epcot and the pathways. One of the things that we've had a problem with ever since the construction started at Epcot was all of the walls, and that it makes it difficult to navigate through the entire thing, like the entire park. But on Walt's birthday this year, they opened up most of it, but there's still a lot of walls hanging out. But because of that, they're rerouting us yet again. And I feel like, as a public service, we need to let people know that they're closed. They closed the pathway, and you can see on this map here, it's very small, but they closed the pathway right here by the front entrance where they were letting you go straight through and up to the Living Seas. And see, this is what it looked like before. and now they've closed this section off, which I think I'm a little bit disappointed in this. Like, it's a pathway that didn't exist before, and they opened it up because of construction. But now that it's open, I was like, oh, yes, please keep this park a little bit more open. And maybe it's just, Shannon, I'll throw this to you. Maybe it's just because I'm hungry for there to be a way through this park, and there's still, because of Communicore Hall, that we're still looking at some walls.
Well, first of all, I'm a Crescent Lake snob, so I don't often utilize the front entrance to the park. But
Oh,
it
Lord.
was a really it was a really convenient path, and it's a bummer. And why? Why are we still having to deal with these wall mazes? It is infuriating, and it's gone on for way too long. But it's a bummer
But
that's gone.
look how pretty they make them, though. I mean, they've got all kinds
Beautiful.
of stripes and things, and it has the Epcot font and
Walt
all
would
of
be
that.
so proud.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Michelle, have you been through, been there since they've changed these pathways, or no?
Yeah. So I think when we put out the article that they were initially closing it, it wasn't closed. And then the next day they put up, I think it was the stanchions. And then when I went, I think it was Festival of the Arts, they had those like the rolling, like the planters. Yeah, there you go. That's what's there now, surrounding the whole area just for cast members. And I didn't get to look at the one further up, but that's what it looks like in the front now. And it's just an inconvenience. Like you get used to going a certain way.
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, I gotta turn around now, which it doesn't put a hassle in the day, but it's just like, keep it consistent.
That happens with me a lot with like the fireworks at night, because at Magic Kingdom, because they will put out people to redirect you, and I'm like, no, I know where I want to go. I want to go that way, and they're like, nah, no, you're going this way, and I'm just like,
they actually did that the other night, and I always try to avoid fireworks at night. But we were cutting through where the plaza is, and normally they open up that backstage area to let everyone leave, and they were holding everyone, like you weren't allowed to cross that pathway to get into Tomorrowland. So like it was just like weird. I looked at my boyfriend and I was like, since when was it like this? So we had to loop all the way around, like up to the castle and go that way. So
right.
they pick and choose.
It's just infuriating when you're like, I know where I'm going. These other people don't know where they're going. I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Let me go where I want to go. The Rose Walk is the other one that you were kind of alluding to there. And this one to me is a little bit harder. Yeah, harder to swallow, because this is making it very difficult to navigate.
Yeah.
If you're coming from the front of the park and you're coming around past Moana and you're going past the seas and the land, you can't cut at a certain point over towards, like Connections and Creations. You have to now go all the way around this way, and this is actually the section where they had the where they had the paint by numbers last year for the Festival of the Arts. So there's something going on in this section, and I think it's all leading to Communicore Hall. So for the love of God, let's get this open. So we don't have to deal with this one anymore. That would be fantastic. That's the PSA for tonight. So let's move on to policy changes. There are a couple different policy changes that happened this week. We kind of teased them last week on ParksCenter talking about them. One is the return of all-day park hopping, which is so funny that we're like we're doing a victory lap here when at the same time, like, they never gave us a discount because we weren't being able to park hop the whole time. I actually brought this up with my wife tonight. She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, we're going to talk about all-day park hopping returns. And she said, okay, I have two questions. Why did it go away? And why is it now coming back? Like, why is it allowed to come back? Yeah. Michelle's down here going, money!
That's what it was for.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, a lot of the reasons they give us, though, are, well, capacity and things like that. But just as an example, I used that October 1st, 2021, when it was the 50th anniversary, the Magic Kingdom park reservations, you couldn't get one. However, come 2 o'clock, you could just walk in. because park hopping was there. Now we've got all day park hopping, and it's returned after 3 years. Park hopping has returned, and there are some like things that never occurred to me that would be different about this. And I know, Michelle, you're talking about money. Speaking of money, that you would have to have buses running in the mornings now to be able to park hop from one to the next. Kamila, do you feel like that the park hopping thing has been like, it's been frustrating for sure, but do you think it's been something that it's like in most people's eyes has been a problem all along, or do you think that most like people have gotten used to the idea of, well, you do it after 2, and how do you think
I do think a lot of people who might otherwise have purchased a park hopper ticket were absolutely struggling with paying what they cost and not being able to use it until 2 p.m. Because keep in mind, the parks are still kind of closing earlier than they traditionally did pre-COVID or pre the pandemic. And so, now you can't start park hopping until 2 o'clock, and many of the parks start to close, 6, 7, 8. And so I just think it was expensive, and I do think people were discouraged from buying park hopper type tickets. We'll see if this changes some of those trends.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the legalese that was in, well, not really legalese, but some of the verbiage that was in our article, and it said, since park hopping returned in January of 2021, guests were only able to enter a second park of the day at 2 p.m. During that time, park-to-park bus service was not available. Restrictions have been lifted, but it's just all these things where, like, for God's sake, this is a vacation. Right? Like, how are we supposed to figure all this out? We were talking about it last week, and I asked Allie, I said, is this returning to Disneyland? She goes, nope. And I'm like, okay, so it's different at Disneyland than it is Disney World. It's different for date-based tickets than it is for annual pass holders and cast members. It's different, I mean, all of, and the other policy that has changed is the good to go days, which again, it's like they're doing us a favor. They're like, okay, you paid for this annual pass. It's okay. We're being nice. It's okay for you to come in today without a park reservation. Those are the good to go days. I don't know. Michelle, do you have any specific thoughts about this, or are you just happy that it's back?
I have many thoughts about it.
Bring it.
I have a Pirate Pass, annual pass, I believe, and then I also have my cast member admission. So it was annoying because, like, I was blocked out for marathon weekend for Run Disney, so I couldn't get a Hollywood Studios park pass. It took me like 48 hours to finally find a pass for Epcot. So we had to scan into Epcot just to go to Hollywood Studios in an hour. But like the days I'm blocked out with my annual pass, I go to make cast member admission, and all those days there's no reservations open. So I kind of think I think they go to the higher tiered annual pass. I think they get more preference than lower tiered. But I think it's nice they're finally doing the good to go days, because even being local, it's just annoying to walk up to the gate and turn blue and be like, oh, you don't have a park pass. And I'm like, well, it's after 2 o'clock. So I'm just happy the good days are back.
Yeah. Yep. It's and the other thing that was a little bit of a mess, if you read about on WDWNT, is that there was a problem with the Genie Plus system, that it was set up to still reflect the 2 p.m. park hopping when it opened up. Because if you were in, say, Magic Kingdom, that was where you had your park pass for the day, and then you wanted to go to Epcot, but you had bought Genie Plus in Magic Kingdom, you couldn't use it to make reservations until after 2 at Epcot. Cast members are saying they're figuring all that out, and that's going to be fixed if it hasn't been already. But that's got to be another frustrating thing. I know that our team was there, boots on the ground, hopping from one park to the next. We saw it on social media, and that was exciting. Look how excited Mickey is that they're good to go days, though. He's just yes. He's just like, yes, you can. You have these days, and they're good to go. But again, this is one of those things that makes it so complicated. It's just like, you have these certain days that are good to go days, and then you have some tickets that don't require park reservations, but others that do. And I don't know. It just feels like if they really wanted to work in the best interest of us, of the guests, is that they would just get rid of park reservations, and they would get, would have been like unlimited park hopping all along. But obviously, it's set up originally as if it was an issue with COVID. Clearly we know it's not. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, I'm interested to find out what the parks feel like on those good to go days because I know at Disneyland, where they have similar but different struggles with their magic key holders. Um, you can definitely feel when pass holders are restricted or even blocked out, versus like when it's just like free reign, open, available for them, and they really do swarm and take over the park. I don't think I don't think Disney World has quite the same issues, but I'm just curious, like from a those are clearly days that Disney thinks the parks are going to otherwise be less crowded. So I'm curious what it feels like when pass holders can just go at free will on those specific days as a non-pass holder.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm sure it'll be great. Honestly, I don't know how you're going to feel the difference because it feels like they're already like to the brim crowded, too crowded. But we shall see. So I do want to acknowledge we have a super chat. Yeah, I forgot we get a dance when Shannon's on here.
Oh, wait.
She gets into it. So it's from Jungle Cruiser. It says, Robin Crew, thanks for showing the new popcorn bucket. It just rips an open wound that I won't have one. The pain is similar to WDW having the People Mover and Carousel of Progress, and DLR does not. Your thoughts? My thoughts are, yeah, I'm with you on the popcorn bucket. First of all, thank you, Jungle Cruiser. Appreciate you for the super chat. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. But yeah, I don't know, the thing about Disneyland, we thought they were going to be making a big announcement about Tomorrowland and adding the People Mover back, and wouldn't that have been great? And Carousel of Progress, well, they had it first in Disneyland, but Disneyland has the original It's a Small World, and Disneyland has all the Avengers the day after they appear on Disney Plus. So I think we got it pretty good on the West Coast too. So hopefully that's enough
more.
to sustain you.
It's never enough.
It's never enough. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We actually have another super chat. So this one is from that one might have just been for the dance. That one might have been just for the dance. This one is a 99-cent super chat from Troy McDonald. It's just a big old smiley face, and we appreciate it. So thank you so much. Let's go on to our From the Parks section. So this is, again, something I'm trying to make a thing. It came from the parks. We have so many of these strange stories that happen, and we cover them on WDWNT.com, and some of them are so wild that I always am like, we should talk about this, but sometimes there's so many of them that I think, well, we should probably choose which ones that we want to talk about. So I have two this week. Everybody gets a chance to pick whichever one you want. You don't have to talk about both, and everybody can choose the same one if they want. But I'll introduce them first, and then you guys can tell me which ones you want to pick, or you can, simply, I don't know, piggyback off the last person. But here we go. So the first one is elderly couple, which you hate to see, assaults woman over Magic Kingdom parade spot. So the elderly couple is not the one being abused, rather than they are abusing. This one, though, I thought was interesting. Adult sister bites sibling on the arm and gets arrested at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. This has almost nothing to do with the park. This is something that happened in the lodge. But the thing that really kind of threw me from this is that the woman, I thought these were kids because it's siblings. And the one woman is 61 and the other one's 59. There's a 61-year-old woman biting a 59-year-old woman. I don't know. I want to hear what y'all have to say. I'm going to let we'll let Michelle go last. Or do you want to go first?
I'll go last. That's okay.
All right, we'll go. Yeah, we'll go clockwise. Kamila, what you got?
So the sister biting fascinates me because I often go to Disney World with my sister. We often stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I can absolutely see us getting in a fight, even into our 60s, where we're so mad at each other that we're like almost fighting. Now, the biting part, actually, I feel like my sister has probably bitten me before, so I could see it. But I just, to me, it's just, I don't know. I feel like there's just so many stories of people where it's like, is it the stress of Disney? Like, what is happening where we just have so many breakdowns week after week? I don't know. Disney needs to, like, give us a yoga class, morning meditations from Bluey, like anything. anything to just bring the temperature down.
Have you seen the new season of Bluey? The first, there's one.
I'm making my way.
Stickbird. Stickbird's
I've heard that one is.
Yeah, that would help them deal with their biting issues, I think. And by the way, just out of curiosity, first of all, I think it's funny that you all fight, but also, if it got this bad, would you call the police? I don't. Okay, all right, just wondering.
I might kick her out of the room, or demand go to the front desk. But no, luckily it hasn't gotten that bad in a really long time. We were younger when she may or may not have bitten me.
May or may not. Allegedly.
Right.
Shannon, what you got?
I need to make one blanket statement first, and that's the fact that neither of these stories are people from New Jersey. So I'll leave that there.
This time.
Because you know if their 59-year-old Jersey woman bites another woman. But okay, that's besides the point. I think parades bring out the worst in people, because the two situations that come to the top of my head of, people almost fighting in the parks, or people were fighting, involved parades. So way back in the day when we had the Mulan parade in MGM Studios, someone was going to miss their flight because they waited until the last minute, and parade control wouldn't let them cross the street to get out of the park. And this gentleman was screaming at the cast member for a very long time. And this was back before, you had a cell phone to blast it on the internet. And then most recently last year at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I had someone talking about me, behind me. And they were just upset that they couldn't see and whatever. It's just, there's a lot of drama involving parades, and I don't know why, but it does bring out the worst.
Okay. All right. And Michelle? Hold on a second. Wait a minute.
All right.
Hold on. Here we go. Ready and go.
Statement. I've seen a lot of incidents happen at Disney, both while working and just in the park. So the biting situation, it doesn't surprise me. That seems like a normal day in the parks, unfortunately. As for the parade one, I'll completely agree. Anytime you're looking for a fireworks spot or a parade spot, I think that is the most hostile people get. When I was younger, we were in Magic Kingdom, and it just happened to be taping of the Christmas parade. So my family and I, we had a spot. We were on Main Street. The camera crew was like, all right, you guys are going to be on camera, so just act happy. And this woman came over and started shoving my mom, and was like, you need to get out of my spot. They told me to stand here. This is my spot. I just got done dancing with the Jonas Brothers. I'm supposed to stand here. And we're from New York. We're not going to take that lightly. So my mom was like, you need to back up right now, because the woman was putting her hands on her, and my mom's not going to stand for that. I'm a kid. Long story short, the woman weaseled her way next to us, and the camera crew literally plopped their camera on her foot, and they were like, you need to leave because our camera's going here. And this family is going to be on the TV. So we won that battle, but the behavior doesn't surprise me.
Isn't that sad? The behavior doesn't surprise you. But the funny thing to me is that normally we're talking about young and drunk. These two stories are 61, 59, 70, 6, 75,
78
and 60?
and 79.
78, 79, and 60.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's violence for the kid in all of us. I don't know. It's
Rob, there's a reason those dessert parties are so expensive. It's because they know what a disaster it is to just be out amongst the regular people. So they're like, listen,
peasants.
we'll make it a nice experience, but you're going to pay a premium.
Give us your money and you won't get into a fight.
Yeah.
That's what.
Come into our
Otherwise,
park.
we can't protect you.
Exactly. Come into our park. It's going to be dangerous. So if you want the extra safe zone, pony up.
If you want to be safe, give us your money.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. We have another super chat, and this one actually is a little bit interesting, Michelle. It says, "Isn't that the Potato Land girl from TikTok?" I mean,
Yeah.
Yes. And
Allegedly.
Yes.
allegedly, yes. I mean, if you believe in that kind of thing.
No. Oh,
Anyway,
no.
yeah.
How
I
fun!
was.
I want to see.
Well, we'll
I was
send you a
at
link
work
afterwards.
yesterday, and I had a girl come up to me, and she was like, are you the Potato Land girl?" And I literally just I had to walk away. I was very embarrassed.
Oh, the price of fame. I'm so sorry. Um, all good. Anyway, thank you so much, Vitamin C, for the super chat. We appreciate it, and thank you guys for being with us tonight. Again, reminder if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up as it helps people find us. Let's move on to some updates. I have tried, by the way. We update anytime that there's any small change at all to either Tiana Bayou Adventure on the east or west coast. We're like, oh hey, somebody dropped a paintbrush. Here's a whole story. Like we do cover as much as we possibly can, and this thing's been going on in the Magic Kingdom since January and in Disneyland since May. So there's been there's every time there's a big change we cover it. So I try not to bring that up too much, but I think it all ties together with some other stuff we're talking about here tonight. So one of the things is that the new Frontier Railroad Station entrance had opened with more details added to the queue. And then we also saw that we had a sneak preview of new characters installed on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And when I say sneak preview, I say we looked through the fence. And so there's that. And then Mama Odie's bottle lanterns can be spotted now at the drop at the top of the one at the Magic Kingdom. You can see it a little bit closer here, the bottle lanterns, and that look a little bit more like this. So let me throw this to you first, Kamila. Are you getting more excited about this one? We don't have a date yet. We don't know when it's open.
Okay, so let me tell you. So first of all, I think she's looking cute. I think she's looking real cute. Like the
right.
greenery, these little sneak peeks. So funny story about this. So my sister actually reached out to me, the one who allegedly bites. And she was like, when is Tiana going to open? Let's plan a trip around it. And I told her, I was like, well, we don't know. Allegedly, it's going to be the summer, but we all know how Disney is with new attractions. And so what we did do is we went ahead and we took advantage of the free dining and booked a trip in September, which honestly will absolutely cancel if this ride is not open, because I'm not just going to Florida in September for fun. So if it's open, I plan on going. But I think she's looking cute. Like, I'm getting excited. It's feeling a little more real. I saw where Disneyland finally got the little water tower. Good for them. I don't know. I'm getting excited. I think the greenery looks good. I think some of these little sneak peeks, seeing the frogs, I'm curious to see what that looks and feels like, obviously like from the actual attraction, but I don't know. I feel like it's coming along. I feel like summer 2024 is not entirely out of the realm of possibility.
I love the I'm not going in September for no reason.
Like if she's not open, it's not happening.
Exactly. And I love that you've gender her. Not just it's not Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It's not Tiana you're gendering. It's the adventure that you're gendering. So like she cute. Michelle, you've probably gotten to see this in person more recently than the rest of us. Is it starting to feel like a bayou?
I mean, yeah, I think it looks good. I don't know. It's not convincing me because we have Frontierland and it's just not fitting. It feels out of place. It makes so much more sense in Disneyland. I mean, they literally have her restaurant. They have New Orleans. We have Pecos Bills and Thunder Mountain. So it feels out of place. It looks pretty. I'm just hoping the inside matches the outside.
Yeah, agree. And I think that was something Tom said in a little bit of a story aside in last week's News Today was, kind of the rule of theme parks is if you're going to make a change, you need to make it for the better. We don't always see that. And I think that when we do see it, like Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, I feel like was a good change over the Tower of Terror in California. And luckily, we got to keep the Tower of Terror in Florida. That, to me, was a win situation. This is the last... like all of the American Splash Mountains are now closed because they closed them both basically at the same time. And so if they're going to do something fitting for Tiana, it would be nice if they would actually put in the animatronics that they're promising they would put in, as opposed to Guardians, where we heard whispers there were supposed to be some, and they're like, nah, projections will be fine. Yeah, they won't know it. What do they know? They're tourists
anyway.
Yeah. Speaking of the only one left, the Country Bear Jamboree. We knew this was happening. They announced at Destination D23 back in September that there is a new show coming to Grizzly Hall. Now, they didn't say it's going away. They said we're putting in a new show. So bear with us. We're rehearsing a brand new show. They've finally announced the date, which is going to be Friday, January 26th, which is way too soon for me. I'm like, are you kidding me? Could you not wait a month so that I could actually get down there and see it? I know I would love to see it again. Every time I've gone as if it's been the last time. So I have been able to see it, but it's just that thought that, like, now I won't be able to see it. I think I saw a couple people in the chat talking about that same thing. But this is going to be on the 26th. They're going to change. They're going to close it down. We don't have an opening date yet for the next one. But I know that we talked pre-show, Shannon, that you're going down for Festival of the Arts, and while you're there, you're going to swing by and pay your respects, I think is what you said.
Yep, exactly. Tears will be the chaser for my wine, and I will be saying goodbye to the inappropriate show that it is. I really hope that in the reimagining that they keep some kind of humor, some kind of adult humor. It's like watching some of your favorite movies that you enjoyed as a kid. Like, let's take Mrs. Doubtfire, which it's coming up soon, right?
Hello.
On Deep in the Plus.
Correct.
Yeah, so you watch it as an adult and you're like, oh my gosh, all these little like nuggets that are so funny as an adult and just go over your head as a kid. I'm hoping that the show will capture some of that.
Okay. What about Michelle? One of the things when they had talked about it being like, I know we had talked about a rumor that this show was originally like slated to become a marionette show for Toy Story. You're much younger. I'm going to ask, does this show mean something to you, and will you be excited to watch a bunch of them before it goes away?
I will be there on its final day, seeing it as many times as I can. I really enjoy this show. We've seen it happen before where they did the under new management with Tiki Room, and it just didn't land. So I'm hoping that they learn from their mistakes and the show is replaced with something for the better, not for the worse. And I like the adult humor in the show. I think it's enjoyable for the adults in the park. But I just hope it's for the better, and I will be sad that the original will be gone.
Yeah, I always get excited when I'm in there, and you could tell whose first time it is when Big Al comes up, and it's like blood on, and they just crack up like it's the funniest thing that they have ever seen when he sings "Blood on the Saddle." And my dad has passed away. This was a big deal for him. He loved country music, and he loved the Country Bears, and so we always went to the Country Bears. And I think sometimes when you're a little kid, you're like, this is a show. I want to be on the rides. But, later on, I enjoyed taking my kids. My kids love the Country Bear. And I think I mentioned on one of the ParksCenter episodes that we were at an after-hours event, and we went to Country Bears. Who does that? We did. Like where there's going to be no lines, and we were literally the only ones in there besides the Bears and the person with the microphone. So that was it, the cast member and the four of us. And I'm sure they thought, what are you doing here? Like Big Thunder's Walk On. Why are you here? But, again, I like seeing it more with a big crowd. I'm interested in seeing what they're going to do. I think they're going to make it more accessible, because it's going to have a lot more like music that I think little kids will enjoy. So, we'll see what happens. But the big thing is they announced this at the Disney Parks blog. They announced that they reiterated that Tiana is on its way, but they said, stay tuned. There's more coming from Frontierland, more announcements to come from Frontierland in the Magic Kingdom, which just sent the internet spinning out of control with theories of what could this possibly be. I know that at D23 Expo last year and Destination D23 in in the fall that Josh D'Amaro had teased what's on the other side of Big Thunder. And one of the things that that they had talked about before was maybe the possibility of Encanto, which we now know is going to reside at Animal Kingdom if that holds. Coco, which would make sense in this kind of environment, in this theme of a land, and then maybe Villains Beyond it. But and Michelle, I think you said it is that it doesn't the theme doesn't work with with the bayou in the middle of the frontier, and so everybody's head spinning and saying, well, it looks like maybe the best thing to do would take Pecos Bill and make it into a Tiana's counter service. And I don't know. I mean, so if you did that, you could take part of that street and sort of make it a New Orleans street. There's even some space across the way on the road that goes up to Adventureland and Pirates, where there was rumor that maybe they would make an actual sit-down restaurant on that side and retheme this whole area. Because you've got an attraction based on food and a movie that was all about Tiana having her place or what ended up being her palace, and it's not going to tie in at all. So I want to go to Kamila on this one and say, do you think that they would do something this extreme and make a New Orleans street instead of Frontierland and just kind of phase out Frontierland?
I don't think they should. I don't think they should. I think we always talk about, Disneyland having things that make it unique. And I think Disneyland having New Orleans Square makes it really unique. I don't think they necessarily need to bring all of that to Disney World or Magic Kingdom. I don't know. I really like the idea of, if they're going to expand, can they continue on like this Wild Wild West theme? People love Big Thunder Mountain. The Pecos Bills, obviously fits nicely into that. So I don't necessarily want them to try to bring New Orleans Square over to Magic Kingdom. I will say, I think it's interesting that Disney took this approach, because it's very easy for them to basically say, oh, get excited, more is coming, and then say nothing else. No concrete details. And we all know they're feeling the pressure as, another, I don't know, theme park down the street that shall not be named is continuing its progress. And so, to me, it just feels a little, well, I'll see what you have to actually show, and I'll wait for that.
Yeah, they're saying the same thing in the chat. I'll believe it when I see it. We could say Epic Universe. We could say Universal. I don't care.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, shoot.
No, we can talk about that all day, every day. I don't care. We talked a little bit about Universal last week, and the fact that they're already phasing out their pamphlets, and that there may be a possibility, like, would that spread? Like, that was the conversation we had. So if you haven't watched it, you can go back to last week's. But Universal, I mean, I think a lot of the fans compare Universal and Disney and feel like they're the same, but I mean, from a tourism standpoint, Disney is still the king in Central Florida. So I don't think that they always feel like they have to keep up with the Joneses, but I also think that we feel like you need to keep up with them. And so I think a lot of the expansion that they're talking about over the next 10 years is great, but we haven't seen, other than Tiana, there's really not like a shovel in the ground yet anywhere to make the revisions that we're talking about and replace Dino Land with Indiana Jones and Encanto, which Encanto still makes no sense there, or the Zootopia movie Inside the Tree of Life, or any of these changes we've heard. We have no dates for any of it at this point. We just have heard rumor that it's going to happen. But Shannon, I want to throw this one to you, is that if this were real, and if they were doing this, they've just announced that they're closing the Bears to reopen the Bears in a Nashville format. Does that make any sense to you?
No, and the Pecos Bills really doesn't make any sense to me. I really think Thunder Mountain is the awkward piece now, right? Like, you could have flowed the theme of Tiana and the Bayou had Thunder Mountain not been there, and maintain the Wild West Frontierland street there. Where I think the opportunity lies, and this is a hot take, is Tom Sawyer's Island. I've never been a fan of it, and probably never will be. And that is just ripe for the picking of Bayou theming. You can put a restaurant there. You can do a walk through interactive attraction like Moana Journey of Water, but with Mama Odie or Dr. Facilier and voodoo themed. I don't know. I just think it's awkward. I don't really see any kind of plan that's going to make it work, but getting rid of Frontierland and Pecos Bills is not the option.
Okay, that makes sense. Michelle, I mean, again, you're there all the time. Maybe you've heard rumblings. I don't know, but what would you like to see them do here? Would you like a New Orleans street?
If it was completely up to me, I would not have gotten rid of Splash Mountain in Florida yet. I would have done it in Disneyland because they literally have New Orleans. I would have seen how it goes over there, how the conversion is. If it's positive, then get rid of Splash Mountain. If it's not so positive, same thing. I enjoy Tom Sawyer's Island. It's cute, but that is the perfect thing to overhaul. It doesn't pull in a lot of people. There is enough room to do a restaurant. It doesn't have to be a Tiana log flume ride. You can do some type of small dark ride, something. They're smart enough that something could have been done with that amount of property than what they're doing now. And same thing, if it doesn't fit. The park needs to flow. You can't be hopping from New Orleans. You have one leg in New Orleans, you have one foot in Frontierland. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, placement-wise, it's the worst to be able to divide up that land. And again, there have been other blogs who say, well, the best bet would be to extend Liberty Square all the way to the Frontierland trading post, where the pin trading is, and then pick up from where the Bears are all the way down the rest of the way and make it a New Orleans street. But again, the Bears seemingly make no sense there. So if the Bears are not going to make any sense in a New Orleans, and we're reopening that, and then, the Bayou Adventure doesn't make any sense in the desert, which is where the Thunder Mesa is. So, yeah, it's a bad situation in general. I love that idea that maybe they would have tested this first, but it seems like at the time, whoever made these decisions was really more in a fire ready aim kind of a mindset of, you know what, this is problematic. Let's get rid of it. And if it bothers people, I'm all about that. But at the same time, like, if you're going to do Tiana, do it justice, and then don't just shove it somewhere because you can't.
If it's going to be done, do it right. Yeah.
That part. Cool. All right. So speaking of things done right, Magic Keys. Does it, Kamila, I know you're a West Coaster. Do you have a Magic Key?
So I actually was going to hopefully try to get one. And I did not during this little, whatever we want to call this. I hate the way that Disneyland, I guess, is doing these. I don't like that they're, I don't know, I guess launching it randomly and then all of a sudden you can get them, but you're stuck in these 10, 12, 24-hour lines and they sell out while you're in them. I just think it's a terrible experience. I know they don't care. But yeah, I mean, I was hoping to actually get one despite how expensive they are. I mean, don't forget, pre-COVID, you could get the type of key, the type of annual pass that would allow you like unrestricted access to both Disney World and Disneyland for just under $2,000, I think it was. And now the top tier key is $1,600, $1,700. So I mean, it's wild.
Wow.
Yeah, $16.49 for the Inspire key, which is the top tier. Believe key was $12.49, and Enchant key was $8.49. I was in this queue, and I got mine 2 hours before they sold out. Because
lucky.
And stupid, because I'm on the East Coast, it makes no sense. However, I do plan on being there for Expo in the fall, so as when you crunch the numbers, it kind of makes sense because Disneyland as a day ticket is already expensive. Like I priced out, I think it was like a 2-day park hopper was like $300 some dollars. So
it was $375 because that's what I'm looking at buying.
Right. So
because I didn't get this key. Thanks,
Womp
Rob.
womp. Sorry, yeah,
Yikes.
I bought yours. I bought yours. Sorry, I bought it right out from underneath
Give
you.
it to
It's
me.
kind of like I got the last Cabbage Patch Kid. Look it up.
Literally.
Anyway, so but I wasn't sure I was going to do this or not, and I got in the queue at noon Eastern, which is 9. Because again, the timeline was no earlier than 9 a.m. Pacific. Great. Cool. Thank you for being respectful of my time. It's probably not going to be any earlier. So about 10 minutes after 12, I started the queue with the little line of, you're in the queue. It could be more than an hour. Actually, it didn't tell me the time at first. And it was 12 o'clock. It wasn't until after 5 o'clock that it was like almost 6 o'clock Eastern that it actually put me in
Yikes.
queue to buy it. And I thought, okay, maybe these will sell out. And I was talking to Allie, who's our reporter in Disneyland. I'm chatting with her, and her husband's texting me, going, "I hope you get one." And so I'm going through this, like thinking, I maybe not get it, or maybe the system's broken. We've had that happen before. Oogie Boogie, Oogie Boogie Bash tickets. Like the system just broke, and they were like, "Uncle, we're not going to do this today. We'll come back tomorrow." I mean, you would think they'd have their technology down at this point. Apparently not. But the Inspire key, 1649, and it's sold out. And I don't know how many they were selling. But the other problem was there were people who were in lines, like actual physical lines in the Esplanade, waiting to buy tickets in person, waiting to buy these Magic Keys in person. So it's highly in demand. What else
What
were you
I
gonna say,
don't
Kamala?
understand also, because like I work, like I literally, and like I have the kind of job where like I'm in meetings all day. So I don't understand how you have a product that's so expensive that I don't know, I'm guessing you have to have a job to like get one of these. I don't know. But then like because I'm working, I'm punished because I can't sit in that line all day because I've got other things that I'm doing because I'm working. Like I don't understand. I don't like, and like it's the same thing with Oogie Boogie. Like I don't know. It's like we're punished. Sorry that I have a job and like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm upset. I'm genuinely upset because we also have been waiting a long time. Like these only come up what 2-3 times a year. Like they're extremely rare. It's like finding an Infinity Stone or something. Like I don't know.
Ooh, what a
It's
deep
just a
pull. I like that
nightmare.
one. Infinity Stone.
I
So
know you
here's
like
the
my little
thing.
Marvel reference.
You know I do. You know I do. So I agree with you. The whole thing, like, but when you're like, I work, I'm like, I work. I had it like on another screen over here on the side, but yeah, that's an excellent point. Like, what if you can't be in front of the machine? I had one, and I bought it when they first came back because I had a legacy one from Annual Pass right before they shut down for COVID. When they first came back as Magic Keys, I had one. I got it, first day, and it didn't, it was a wait, but it wasn't that bad. And I got one, and I held on to it for 2 years. And then in September of last year, I was in Disney World for D23, Destination D23, and I didn't realize, and I said this last week, that you can't renew. Once your thing expires, you can't renew it because it's the opposite policy of Disney World. Disney World, they give you 30 days afterwards that you can still renew. They'll let you renew 30 days before, but as soon as those 30 days are up, as soon as your pass is up, you're out. And I even called, and they were like, yeah, nothing we can do. And so they've been gone since at least September. And so now here we are in January. They came out for not even 24 hours. Kind of crazy. So speaking of Disneyland, now that you have your Magic Keys, if you have them, the fun news is almost everything's closed. So have fun for your $1,600. Not everything, but they are starting to put up walls around the Haunted Mansion, which we knew that the Haunted Mansion is going to get a refurbishment with their grounds. So they've put up the walls. Haunted Mansion Holiday is still open right now, but they've started the walls up. I think we have there's some concept art here of what the grounds are going to look like here. They're also going to have a gift shop at the exit. So apparently all of this construction means they have to shut down the Haunted Mansion from now through when Haunted Mansion Holiday will launch again. And so we won't see the original Haunted Mansion again, which I know you're a huge fan, Kamala. We won't see that until 2025. So then we've got Fantasmic's been down and will continue to be down until May, and then come back in a little bit of a different format. the Mark Twain has been down. And then now, obviously Splash Mountain has been down to be turned into Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And now we're going to have the Haunted Mansion down. I mean, that's a lot for one park, especially some big marquee attractions. But don't worry, the Pirates of the Caribbean will be temporarily added to Genie Plus at Disneyland Park. So, you know, that's something. I don't know. I assume they have to do this because of all the things that are closed. And Kamila, I'm going to throw this one back to you as someone who goes to Disneyland more than us. But I look at this and I just go, how heartbreaking would it be if this was your first big trip to Disneyland and you get there and they're like, oh, Splash Mountain, that doesn't exist anymore. And Mark Twain, the big riverboat, no, you can't do that one. And Fantasmic is great. Come back in May and you can see that. And then the Haunted Mansion, sorry, that's not here. That's a lot. And Astro Orbiter, I didn't even mention Astro Orbiter has been dismantled because that one's being fixed.
Huge.
What the heck?
Yeah.
I mean, not really, but you get it.
I mean, just because of like where it's located in the park, it's so prominently featured. You know, right as you're trying to go into Tomorrowland. But no, I mean, look, for me personally, the big one, the painful loss is Haunted Mansion. I think that one is huge. You know, you can deal with the riverboat being down, Astro Orbiter, nobody cares really, except little kids and maybe the parents who get dragged on that ride with them. But no, I like the Haunted Mansion is the one that gets me, especially because like when you look at what they're doing, I just don't know that I feel like that warrants closing the ride for such a long period of time just for that. And then, you know, adding Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, to the Genie Plus, where you've already done that with the Little Mermaid. I think the thing that this does that's interesting is it makes a better case for park hoppers. And I feel like, again, the reason that, you know, park hoppers tend to be so expensive at Disneyland is because so many people are so much more likely to actually buy them. And it kind of feels like to get what you might want out of your full day, it almost feels like you need to get a park hopper. You need to be able to go back and forth between the two parks. But no, it definitely, it's rough. And I almost didn't want to go to Disneyland because Haunted Mansion was going to be closed. So it's disappointing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, other thoughts, Michelle, on this one? I mean, just from someone who's looking out at Disneyland, a lot of closures.
I mean, yeah. So I've only been once in my life, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I would be very, very upset if I went there for my once in a lifetime trip and it was like Epcot, where all the walls are up and there's not a lot to do. I really enjoyed Haunted Mansion, and the fact that that might just be like not coming back originally through the whole year is kind of crazy to me. I feel like they can do that because it's not a tourist location, whereas Disney, we can't have the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay because people come to see the original Haunted Mansion, not that. So I think they can get away with a lot more of closures and stuff than Disney World can.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, but it just seems like it's so much. But
it's excessive.
Before we move on, we have another super chat. Interesting. Hold on a second. Wow.
It's the wrong music.
No, I had to let it. I had to let it play out because I have to start it from the beginning again so that Shannon can dance. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that one's even bigger than before. So Jungle Cruiser says a family bought 2 Inspire keys and tried to buy 3 Enchant keys for their kids, but couldn't. How does this happen? Yeah,
I was gonna say
kids.
that reminds me of Run Disney events back in the day when like family members, you'd have like a kid and a parent, but like the other family members couldn't get in. Crazy.
Yep, it's this. That's an issue still to this day.
I had that with Destination D23 as I was trying to buy a ticket for my wife and I only got one. She was not happy. and I was like, "Oh, sorry, it's not transferable. I have to go."
Oh,
But no, but we got her hooked up eventually. But yeah, I mean, these parents buy the Inspire key for themselves, and then they can't get other keys. It seems like, like in a school system, usually they give first priority to, if your kid is in some sort of a lottery, that they give first priority to the siblings so that everybody's together. So yeah, and Michelle, you made a great point. Like the Run Disney thing, people. I mean, it's so hard to get in.
It's a horrible system. I think that if you have an annual if you have an annual pass, DVC, like if you're local, you do the events, like you should be able to sign up before anyone else. The amount of people that literally ran Figment just to resell the metal, like it was disgusting. It was crazy.
Look, I needed the money. No, I'm just kidding. Um, we talked about a pre-show. I'm doing my first 10K, and it's going to be in the spring, and I'm literally not ready. But I heard horrible things about the balloon ladies and the bus that will scoop you if you don't move fast enough. So I have to be prepared. So let's talk about something that happens on the West Coast. Back to Jungle Cruiser talking about being jealous. I think we're all jealous of the fact that that the Lunar New Year celebration happens on the West Coast. Now, we were talking about the Festival of the Arts and that being one of the shortest ones. This is a very short festival as well. It starts on January 23rd and ends on February 18th, not even a month long. But the other thing about this festival this year is they're going to have Mei-Lin and Ming meet and greets coming to the Lunar New Year for California Adventure, that's fun. They had the last time when I was there, it was Year of the Rabbit. They had Oswald, so I was loving that. I would assume Mushu will be there because I believe it's Year of the Dragon. So I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff for the Lunar New Year. I'm excited about that one. Shannon, tell me your excitement level of Lunar New Year 1 through 10. Were you feeling like a 9?
yeah, I'd give it a 9. I mean, it's not an insignificant event. If you look at the article, you'll see there's tons of food offerings like booths and merch. So, I mean, I think this is great. I love that they do it. I'm sad that we don't have it. This is still on my bucket list, but I mean, this is on par with any Epcot festival. So great for people in Disneyland. I hope you go enjoy it, and I'll be very jealous.
Well, I mean, that is the good thing, is that people will have to go over to celebrate Lunar New Year because they can't ride Haunted Mansion. They can't. I'm sorry. I won't talk about that part anymore. But yeah, it does look pretty good. I don't know, Kamila, have you been to Lunar New Year before? Are you excited about the lineup that you've seen here?
I think I actually will be there during this year's. And so, yeah, definitely excited to go try to see some of the like entertainment offerings, see if I can see any of the Turning Red characters, and then try some of the food. I love anything with noodles, and there were plenty of dishes. There was like a spicy Dan Dan noodle dish that I have my eye on. Some of the drinks always look really fun. So I love that Disneyland does this, and what a cool way to, for those who celebrate.
For those who celebrate. I love that.
But also for the rest of us.
No, for sure.
Enjoy.
Yeah. Something that meant very little to me until I saw it in person, and then I was like, well, now maybe I'm missing out on something, because they do a really great job with it. And so, yeah, you're right. It's neat that they do these extra things out there. And the festivals in Disneyland are smaller, but I enjoy them. I love them. The food and wine I went to, and again, just they take a lot more chances and do a lot more very different things for food and wine. I've enjoyed going to Festival of Holidays out there. Almost all of the stuff happens at Disney California Adventure, as opposed to happening in Disneyland Park, because it would be too crowded to do that. But that is their Epcot, I guess. And so Lunar New Year is awesome with the processional and the meet and greets and the foods, and it really is a very cool thing. So if you get a chance to go, definitely go. I'm moving through here a little bit faster. There is a new name tag situation happening at Disneyland. They just released some images of it. I'm a little disappointed, but I want to Michelle, I'm going to throw this one to you, because again, sort of a cast member sort of a situation. I want to get your take on it. But here's the Disneyland name tag, and they're saying that it's sort of based on the excitement of Disneyland Forward. I think that's a reach. But I think they're just trying to promote Disneyland forward. I don't really see how it ties into it because it is what it is, but it's very small. My wife was like, wouldn't want somebody coming up staring that closely to see what was on there. But I look at this thing, and the one thing I'm kind of sad about is that for the 100 Years of Wonder, cast members got to pick their favorite character and put it on there, and that was such a great thing to be able to show that part of your Disney side as a cast member, and to be able to then share that with guests who would be interested. Like, why Anakin Skywalker? Why is Sadness your favorite character? Like, why is that the one that you picked out of the thousands that you could pick? And so this seems a little bit pedestrian to me. I don't know. What do you think, Michelle?
I like the design. I mean, I'm someone that has the original name tag, the 50th name tag, and like the newer version, which we never got the 100th name tags here. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think the reason Disneyland cast members got to do the character instead of their hometown is more people flock to Disney World to work. So usually the people working Disneyland are locals. And people aren't trying to make that like personal connection of like, oh, that's your hometown. Like, I have at least 10 guests a day that are like, oh, you're from New York? Like, so are we. So I think that's why we get the hometowns in Orlando. I think it's a personal connection thing. I like the design of the new Disneyland ones. I'm very jealous. I don't really get with the moving forward thing. I like the color. They're pretty. I am very biased, and I don't like the name tags that we have now.
Did you get the one that was like in a box or whatever? Like
Nope.
Oh, sorry.
So I'm a third party cast member, so
Oh, gotcha.
I don't exist. We don't get the things that a normal cast member would. It's kind of hurtful because like we wear the name tag, we abide by the same company, so the fact that we couldn't get a commemorative name tag is kind of just a kick in the butt.
And you didn't get the Once Upon a Studio print either?
Nope, I had to beg someone for it, and they didn't follow through with it. So
Sorry to open that wound. Then I apologize. I worked at AMC.
It's okay. But maybe I can
worked
bring awareness that everyone that wears a name tag should have the same opportunity.
In the arms of the angel. So sorry. When I was working, there was a thing called Pleasure Island. Again, look it up, long time ago. But I worked at Pleasure Island AMC, and we had a look-alike tag. It wasn't even an official Disney tag. It looked sort of like a Disney tag. And so we were working on Disney property, but we got like 0 of the perks. And so then I transitioned into Disney. But a lot of people in the chat were saying they like the look of the tag. And again, I don't dislike the look of the tag. It looks very similar to, just the whole multi-park icon thing. That's kind of cool. But I loved the idea of the 100 Years of Wonder and them picking their own character, because some of the characters were so far out there. I'm just like, why did you pick this? I loved having that conversation with people. So let's wrap this up with one last story, which is about the Pixar Place Hotel. I always have to pause on that because it's Paradise Pier becomes Pixar Place, and it's been that way for, like Shannon was talking about, like, when's this going to be done? We've been talking about it since the dawn of time. And so the funny thing about this is they've added these mobiles to the atrium, which is something that they had talked about doing before. So you can see them here. You can see they're very abstract. Like this one here, I had to kind of lean in on this green one. I think this is Buzz Lightyear, but he's spun around, so it's like the back of his his
Why
backpack.
is he so chunky?
Well, and then his little legs. It's like so interesting. Like even Wall-E, or like that's pretty close, but like this Frozone one, again, very abstract. Here's the thing though. We did some concept art that we released a while ago. We didn't do it. Let me clear this up. We didn't make this concept art, but we had this concept art from what this was supposed to look like. So when I saw these very, again, abstract characters hanging here, I was like, wasn't there something else? And we had something this was the concept art that we had. And I'm like, well, that's freaking adorable. And it has this huge statue of Woody and Buzz. And the elevator was supposed to look like, Buzz Lightyear's box. And, like, wouldn't that have been cool? But no. This is like, again, and it's a little fancier. That's nice, but it's not as whimsical and fun. And I think that hotel needed to be whimsical and fun because it's been sort of stale, because it was one they bought. It wasn't one that they built from scratch. And so but I like the changes they've been making to it. It does feel a lot more Disney when you're in there. And one of the other things that we have pictures of is that they've opened up the Sketchpad Cafe. And this looks very nice, very clean. And you know, the color scheme is pretty cool. I don't know. Let me make sure before I throw this to Shannon. Shannon, what do you think of this? Does it make you want to stay there the next time you go?
No, it looks like putting lipstick on a pig. Sorry.
Perfect.
This hotel is so sad. I did like the soul area where they put the piano, and oh my gosh, I forget the character's name. Is it 23?
Joe Gardner?
What is?
Oh,
No, the soul character. But yeah, I don't know. It's not helping. It's a sad hotel.
Okay, Kamila?
I agree completely with Shannon. All of the resorts at Disneyland, they serve their purpose, and you know, you're close, but they're just so sad. And when you compare them to what you have at Disney World, I just don't understand why they're so bad. I'll be honest, Paradise Pier was struggling before. Now that it's Pixar Hotel, it's not looking better.
Not at all? Okay.
I mean,
Michelle, thoughts on this one?
Maybe we have to see it.
Someone who gets to see all the Disney World ones.
When I went to Disneyland, I stayed in this hotel with the construction. So pool wasn't open, lobby wasn't open. We had to enter through some like sketchy back alleyway. Construction was 24/7. You couldn't find food. The lobby was like a makeshift, like it looked like a contemporary like spare room that they would use for a convention.
Conference room.
I was grateful to be there, and like when we got into the room, I felt like I stepped into like Saving Mr. Banks. Like I felt like, oh wow, I'm in Disneyland. This is like old school Disneyland. And then finally, when we left on our last day, like we saw a peek in the lobby, and I was like, they couldn't have opened that while we were here. Like it didn't look good. It did not look good at all. Yeah, that's what our Disneyland experience was. And I was grateful to be there, but I was like, okay, wow.
Yeah, no, but the good news is they give you a huge discount because of all the construction, right? It was almost free, right?
I wasn't
the
the one that paid for it.
sarcasm.
Brutal.
No, they never discounted any of it. But I remember Patrick was a little bit upset about Store E, since Wally is sort of about anti-consumerism, and they make the Store E.
That's funny.
So, yeah, I don't know. I like this. I get what you're saying about the lipstick on a pig, but I'm happy to see it finally, done, and that there's something with some sort of whimsy there, because I feel like Grand Californian's very formal. Right? And Disneyland Hotel has some whimsy to it, but it's, again, sort of a little bit more upscale. This is something, there's not an All-Star or a Pop Century or an Art of Animation where you take your kids and they're just in awe. I'm in Disney. Disney is all around me. So there's a lot of this stuff that I look at and I go, I wish it had a little bit more whimsy than it does. But look at this concept art before we like close this out. This was the original concept art we had hands on. Yeah. Look what this, the entrance was going to look like. The front desk, it doesn't look like this. This was like, okay, this could be a little fun. Look what the splash pad was supposed to be like up here. Yeah, it's none of this. It's none of this. But it's still, it's still fun a little bit, I guess. But yeah, it's been under construction for a while. It's been taking a while. I like the stuff like this. This is kind of neat. This little Jack with his head on fire up by the pool. Like, I think that's little touches like that are nice, and I'm glad they did something here. So anyway, that's what we've got for our show today. Thank you guys so much. Sorry we ran a little bit over tonight, but I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you guys for watching. I want to give a shout out to our WIGS members. We love our WIGS, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. It is our little family of Patreon If you want to learn more about it, go to patreon.com/WDWNT to find out. Our Patreons or our wigs get a post show after this, so we will have a short post show after ParksCenter. Also, just a reminder, and I feel like, was it Shannon that teased Deep in the Plus next week? We're going to have Mrs. Doubtfire. Finally, we're going to talk about Mrs. Doubtfire. We had Elemental, Patrick and I talked about. We did a Star Wars ranking last week with Desi, and this coming week we're going to have a live show with Mrs. Doubtfire, and then the week after that, my good friend Maleko is coming back to talk about Dumbo, which I try to avoid Dumbo all the time because it's such a sad movie. I don't want to watch it, but love Maleko, and he was like, "Can we do this?" Yes, we're going to do that. So hopefully you'll join us on Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. for live Deep in the Plus, and then come back next Sunday night, 9 p.m. for another ParksCenter. Thank you guys so much. Shannon, have a great time in Florida. Michelle, thanks for being here. I appreciate you jumping in, and also have a great time in Florida every day, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
And Kamila, thank you for being here. Always a pleasure. We will be hitting the post show next, but again, thank you guys so much. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Don't come back. You hear?
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Amazing.